Hey, what's up, guys? It's X Morgan. Forgive me, I'm doing a very kind of last minute live right now, and I don't know if my 3-year-old is going to be distracted by his tablet long enough. But I just wanted to get on here because I just watched David Archuleta's faith crisis video, and it freaking broke my heart, and I wanted to talk about it. If you don't know who David Archuleta is, he is. I mean, everyone knows him as like the famous singer that is Mormon, the Mormon singer. That's what I knew him as. And um, yeah, he's clearly having a faith crisis. So I think someone will have to correct me in the comments because I haven't been following him super regularly. I don't exactly know what's going on. I think he came out as bi or gay or something kind of recently, but still like wanted to be Mormon and wanted to live the Mormon lifestyle and everything. And so he was just like trying to make it work. Anyway, recently he went live, I think on Instagram, and posted this whole video about it's like an hour long of just like his thoughts and his feelings. A quick overview is basically like he has tried dating women, it's not working, and now he is struggling because he feels like um, he doesn't know how to deal with the fact that he still believes Mormon things, but he is struggling and he doesn't want to be lonely for the rest of his life. And he's kind of just, I mean, he's in hell. He's in the faith crisis hell that a lot of us have dealt with. And his video just really touched me really deeply, partly because obviously, like, I have had a faith crisis, so I get it. I get how hard it is and how confusing it is, but also touched me really deeply because he's posting about this as the Mormon singer. Can you imagine how much hate he must be getting as the Mormon singer as he posts this video talking about how he feels like he's gay and he doesn't want to necessarily hide that anymore? Anyway, so a little bit of an overview of what he talked about in his video is that he's tried kind of shoving this part of him down. He's tried praying it away, and it's just not working. And he's tired of feeling inauthentic. He's tired of feeling like he's lying to himself and to other people. And he just wants to, like, he's not sure what to do because he still, like, is really caught up in a lot of the Mormon teachings about what God expects of you and what God says is right and wrong. Um, he talked about I mean, it progressed to the point where he's like, he had considered the thought that maybe it would be better that he died instead of started living as a gay man. And here's the reason why is because if he lives as a gay man, he'll go to hell, according to Mormonism and certain Christian theologies. And so he actually has this kind of breakdown and he cries in the video and talks about how he doesn't, he wonders like, would God prefer him to be around and be gay or to, and the alternative is to live your life lonely, right? And he even mentions people have told him like, don't give in to temptation. Being gay is just temptation or whatever. And it's just like so heartbreaking because he's like, I just don't see it that way. It doesn't make sense to me. And he kind of talks about the mental gymnastics he's kind of trying to work through. Um, and M. Willis says exactly what I was thinking. I can't imagine how much pressure that you would have. Imagine your faith crisis just blown up into this huge thing where like you have millions of subscribers, millions of people. I haven't checked how many people follow him on Instagram. Lots of people following you, and most of them, or at least a good portion of them, are Mormon and they look up to you. Like, I felt like having a faith crisis was hard enough when it was just my journey, but he's got this weight of like all these Mormon followers that are like looking up to him and wanting him to like pull through and live the Mormon life. And I just can't even imagine, which is why I was so impressed with his video. I was so super impressed with just how vulnerable he was, how honest he was, and I can only just imagine how all the hate he probably got and how terrifying. Um MD said the talk you posted recently was awesome about some people aren't to be trusted with your eggs. Go watch my recent speech I gave at Thrive to understand that joke. And what a baller for David Archuleta to not be trusting everyone with his eggs and being honest with himself. Okay, so a little bit more overview. Actually, I'm going to play for you guys just a little clip of it really quick here. 1 second. Okay, we can do it. We can do it.
But you feel it just like you can't keep it down anymore. You've been pushing it down all your life, and for some reason it gets to a certain point where you just can't. It's building so much. And so at that point you think, what would God prefer? Me to live a sinful life? Okay, that's how I looked at it. Living a gay life in a gay relationship, letting myself love someone romantically that's the same sex as me. Is that better than not being here and not existing? What's worse? Because probably ending my life is also bad. But what's worse? And you start playing with those ideas. Which one's worse? And you start thinking, maybe, I don't know, that doesn't sound so bad. That way I don't have to lie and pretend to be with someone and lie to them. But then I won't get posterity and grown up in religion.
Okay. Pause it there. Hopefully the sound came through okay. Yeah, you can just see his heart is breaking. He's super confused, and I'm just like, oh my god, I wish I could just hug him because this is so incredibly hard. I can only imagine. Yeah, just what he's going through. I'm sorry, I keep saying that just because it's so shocking. So a little bit more overview of what else he talks about. He talks about how he's been getting a lot of flack of from people and them talking about how like, oh, homosexuality is all just about sex and it's gross and disturbing, just like silly things. And then he's like, do you think like when you're dating someone like, in a heterosexual relationship, do you think like, oh, I just want to marry this person so I can have sex with them? Like, no, you definitely don't think that. And he's like, it's not that I just want to have sex, it's that I want someone, I want to be in love, I want to fall in love, I want to go on dates, I want to do these things, and I want to do it with someone I can feel a genuine connection with, and I haven't been able to feel that with women. And it was just like, oh, just so honest. um, he says some people will say you're choosing to be gay instead of choosing God, which is just so heartbreaking, right? And you can see him trying to think through this of like, wait, but there's gay Christians and like they're living their life, and like, who are you to say that because I'm gay that I've left God? Like, isn't God the only one who should be able to say that? He talks about how he feels like with growing up in his religion, which is Mormonism. He ta- he talks about how it's like you have to. It's all true, all of it. You can't pick and choose. All of it is true, or none of it, right? And like that kind of dynamic, I think people on the outside don't understand because they're like, oh, just be Mormon but be gay and just tell everyone to F off. But it's like that's not how it works, right? The culture is so deeply ingrained in you that every aspect of it is true, that it's incredibly difficult to see it that way, to live it that way. Um, he talks about feeling like he's wrong and he's bad. He talks about feeling afraid of himself, which that part really got me in my soul because I think I also grew up with this weird like fear of myself, like fear like I'm always going to mess things up or things are always my fault or like there's something wrong with me or Jared, hot, thank you. Thanks. Uh, Jared, just so you know, August is taking a nap and Lucas is playing with the iPad, so we're just gonna see how this goes. um, anyway, uh, he talks about feeling afraid of himself, and I really related with that. I hate feeling like I'm afraid of myself, but it is this deeply ingrained self trust that we grew up with. He talks about what's my purpose now. Like, as his beliefs are shifting, he's feeling a loss of identity, a loss of meaning, a loss of purpose. All of that comes with a faith crisis. And especially when your faith crisis also involves, like, straight to gay, Um, uh, see, he talked about how people tell him just wait, and he's like just wait until the next life, just be single, and in heaven your gayness will be cured. And he's like, that just doesn't feel right to me. Like, I just have to be alone. Like, I don't get someone to spend my life with. Um, he talks about how he doesn't feel like people understand him or where he's coming from, because they just tell him like that his feelings of feeling gay are satanic and evil, and that he needs to fight against them. And he talks about, but he's in conflict because acknowledgement is bringing him peace, and so he feels really confused. um and then he talks about pushing his tour off, because he's feeling so unmotivated and lost and confused. But now he's like, okay, I need to do something, 'cause sitting around with my thoughts is just getting too scary. um and he ends his video, and I have the link below for anyone who wants to watch the full thing. It's so good, so good. He ends his video by saying, I pray that God will give me grace. And then it was really cute, because then he corrected himself and he said, or maybe I pray that I can finally give myself grace. So this video just totally broke my heart, and it was so beautiful, and it was so impressive to me. Just the amount of courage he had to come out and speak about this was just incredible. I also linked down below a video. One of his most recent releases or music videos that showed up was called Beast by David Archuleta. And in that song, he talks about having to shove things down, and because there's a beast inside and he's got to keep it under wraps. And I was just like, oh my God, it's so interesting, like getting into the mind of a singer and then seeing like that song, and being like, oh, that's what he's saying in that song. And just so much of him comes through in that music. And I really related with the song for sure, personally. Um, yeah, so I just wanted to talk about that. And if you're not aware of that video, definitely check it out. And let's see, let's read this comment here. You want so bad for people in his position to lose the toxic religion and be happy, but you can't make it happen for them when they're not ready. Yeah, that's so true. It's right. I just want to hug him and be like, it's okay. You don't have to do this. Like, it's okay. And Melissa said, I haven't watched the whole video yet, but I need to. Sweet man. He just, like, what a sincere guy, and it just, yeah, my heart really goes out to him. I think that when I left the church, I couldn't talk about it with people because I felt so insecure. I always feel like I have to have like certainty before I talk about something. And so to see him have the courage to talk about all of his concerns and what doesn't make sense to him was just super, super inspiring. I think that I think one thing I really loved about the video too was like he didn't even really try to throw like a positive spin. He just like he put his serious heavy feelings out there and was just like, this is what's going on. This is what it is. And and I think in my head, like I try to find that balance when I'm posting videos of like being vulnerable but not too vulnerable, like talk about my feelings but not getting too off the rails. And I think sometimes I will try to make sure that I end my videos on a positive note so I don't bum people out. But watching his video, even though he didn't like throw a positive spin in the end, it did not bum me out. I just loved how beautiful it was. I loved how vulnerable he was. And I loved how I don't know, he was just so honest. There's something that's just so refreshing about hearing someone speak so genuinely and so honestly. It's just like touches your soul. Um anyway, that's pretty much all I had time for, but I just really wanted to get on here and talk about that because it really just gut punched me this morning watching that whole thing. So check it out below. Yeah, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys later. Peace. And my computer froze, so maybe not. Maybe not see you guys later. See if it see if it's gonna let me end it or not.